Peace and blessings and namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It is I, Sophie, today, and I'm just coming to give you some quick updates of what's been going on in the ethers, okay? How it is affecting our reality. Hoping that you guys are maintaining your manifesting from one new moon to the next new moon, because I'm telling you, it is working. Okay, so if you're already partnered with the divine and you have the ear of the divine and you can manifest and work and co-create with the divine, you are watching this stuff manifest. Shout out and thank you for all the birthday gifts and wishes. Like, this was like the best birthday ever. I felt like I was literally being spoiled by the universe. I mean, perfumes and lotions and clothes and saris and flowers and roses. I mean, like everything came. So I was grateful for that, and for you, my family, who sent these things and let me know that, you care, and I appreciate that. Okay, but now let's get to the real nitty gritty. Okay, so we're still creating this new earth, and this new realm. Okay, and so a lot of things are being brought to court, as far as some of the old traditions, what we're going to keep, what we're going to change. And you're going to start to see this manifest in your reality if you are vibrating on the same realm, that I am. You're actually going to start seeing the cases that we are taking care of in the ether realm start to manifest in your reality. Okay. For instance, some of the things, this was a good one. Okay. So in the ether realms, there was a charge that was brought up against unconditional love or love. Okay. And the charge was like this. Okay. Number one, greater love. No, I'm sorry. There is no greater love than a man who lays down his life for his brother. Right. Do you remember that teaching? Okay. So what happened was a scenario was brought up where there was two guys and they were along, a lake bed, and a crocodile comes up. Okay. And the crocodile goes and snatches one of the men. And so there were a lot of the collective that was waiting to see what the other man was going to do. And they were saying that, should he fight off this crocodile and save his friend and risk his life, okay, for him, versus him being a coward and running. Okay, so there was a lot of old belief systems that, yes, these two guys was down there and one was getting eaten by a crocodile. The other guy should fight and fend for him unto his death. Okay, and if he was to run or flee the scene to try to save his own life, he was considered a coward. All right. Now, this is important because this is a huge principle that we're all operating on, but I want you to see how we're balancing out these scales here. All right. So now, some of the collective that was saying that was cowardice and that was showing that he has no love. There was another collective that brought on another opinion. Okay. And what they said was, well, what about this man's family, his wife, his children? And so as I'm listening to both of these cases, I realized one thing. You can't pin a law against another law. Okay, so the truth of the matter is, the man who lays down his life for his brother, who risks dying, okay, to save his friend, is operating in unconditional love. However, so is the man who realizes that if he should die, he's leaving his family, his wife, and his children sacrifice. That's unconditional love too. All right. So in this case, for the ones that were saying, oh, that's cowardice, that we should be willing to risk our lives, you can go either way with that. The one thing that was not considered was the fact that the man that was risking his life for his brother was doing it out of unconditional love, but so was the man who knew that he had responsibilities at home. That's unconditional love too. Okay? Because if the man was to self-sacrifice on behalf of his friend, then he sacrifices his family. Do you understand? So it's not a matter of pitting love against love. It's a matter of the intentions behind these things. Okay? So, and that charge, that man was not considered a coward. Okay? So we have defined the fact that you cannot pin one law against another law with the same law. All right? So either it's love that is driving this man to want to go home and make sure his children and his wife is taken care of because he's honoring his duty as a husband, versus the man who decides that he wants to honor his duty as a friend and leave his wife and his children. Do you understand? Remember, I told everybody it's not black and white, and we're just coming here to bring about a broader level of understanding so that we aren't cutthroat and pointing fingers at things that don't deserve it, okay? So in this case, both scenarios would be considered guiltless, all right? So we squashed that one out, okay? Number two, you've seen them, you've understood them, right? You've seen them all over the city, the Hebrew Israelites, right? And their charge is women should not wear garments like a man. Okay, so here's another old frame thought that had been brought up to the councils, okay? How women should be dressing, okay? And should they be wearing garments that belong to a man? Well, first of all, you have to understand that you wearing jeans or pants is not wearing the garments of a man. Your jeans and your pants was actually made for you, for a woman, okay? And if that should be the case, then we'll have to charge the men for wearing long gowns and robes like a woman and dresses, okay? So that is null and void. Now, pay that no mind, okay? When we're saying don't wear the garments of a man, typically that was during the times of war, all right? That's a whole different teaching. We're not going to get into that right now, but I'm just letting you know that some of this old thinking has been thrown out, okay? Number three, I walked into a store the other day, all right? And the guy behind the counter started sneezing profusely. And I said to him, "Bless you." And he said, "Thank you." And then I went to grab my products and I want to leave the store. And another gentleman in there heard me say this, he wanted to correct me, all right? So as I'm leaving, he says to me, "You know, the blesser," or something along with the blesser was actually a curse. And we have to be very careful for when we say bless you, because it has another meaning and we can actually be cursing that person. And then he went into this little history of what bless you came from and how it was really a curse. And I listened to the gentleman. I did, and he was smart. And then I told him, yeah, but you know what's even more powerful than words? Now, mind you, I understand that words carry a frequency, an energy, and a vibration. But what's more powerful than that is being spoken is the intention. So I looked at him and I said, what's more powerful than words is the intention. And being as though my intention was to bless this gentleman, when I spoke that word, the intention carried it. So he is blessed. Okay? So I'm just letting you know. Okay, there's so many things here that will trap you in different lines of thinking. But when you are sovereign, you live above them all. Do you understand? Not saying that you're lawless, just saying that you become the law. Okay, so the logos, what you're speaking is creating the reality. So now we know that you can't pin laws against another. Okay, you can't go around saying that women who wear pants, is wearing the garments of the man. Okay, and we also can't go around saying, okay, just be careful of the things that you say. This is true, though. It is true about the power of words. But it's not true once you have elevated above it. Okay? Your intention has a higher frequency than the words that you speak. It does. It really does. Okay? And so if you're conscious about the words that you speak, and you know what the intentions are behind the words that you speak, then you don't have to worry about the words that you speak, okay? Because it's going to carry that intention from your heart, all right? And that's the energy that's going to permeate. Now, on the flip side of that, if you are saying ill words and the intentions are ill, then yes, that will manifest too. So just be careful of what you are receiving in and taking out. We're under some powerful energy right now, okay? And I want to give you some tools to let you know that you have arrived, okay, on where you need to be, that you're going through another ascension. Here's some of the things you need to look for, all right? Number one, the way you see the world is not the way that you perceive the world. I'll say that again. The way that you see the world is not the same as the way that you perceive it. You can see one thing and perceive something completely different. In other words, you know how to siphon through the illusions that is taking place on this realm, okay? So, just because something looks like a duck and acts like a duck and quacks like a duck doesn't necessarily mean that it's a duck. Do you see what I'm saying? When you get to the point where your eyes can see past everything that is coming to you, to program you, to keep you in a shell, to keep you in a box where you have to go along with the fray, go along with the masses, go along with the collective just to be a powerful individual, you're lost already. See, true leaders, we don't follow. Do you understand? We only submit to a higher truth once we receive it. But if you are a leader, but you're following the masses, then that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a leader. Now, all right, okay? Now, case in point with this, I had an issue while I was at work last week. There was a young woman that was facing homelessness. She had 3 children, okay? And I am pulling every single resource that I can possibly pull to get this woman and her 3 children affordable housing, right? So we found some gap houses. We found some landlords that was willing to, kind of work with us, okay? But the problem was the time that she needed it, it wasn't soon enough, okay? So that this house was going to be available in a couple of months. Her pastor calls me on the phone. He does. And he calls me on the phone first. And the first he leaves a message on my voicemail. This is Charles, such and such, Thompson, Pastor Charles Thompson. As if, that's going to make a difference. And I have, a parishioner or somebody, a member of my church that is saying that y'all are playing around and not giving her the resources that she needs, and that y'all had given away a house underneath her nose and all of this stuff. I mean, he just left this long, nasty message on my voicemail. And I'm thinking to myself, first, oh my God, who are you leading? Who are you leading? So I smiled and I called him back. And I was like, yes, Mr. Thompson, how can I help you? And so he goes into all of this, what his church members said that we were doing behind the scenes, which was all a crock of baloney. Okay. And I let him know I am highly disappointed in you for calling me based off of some he said, she said, and not even knowing the facts. Nobody's doing anything to this woman except for trying to help her. So you done flew all off of emotions right now. I'm wondering what you're teaching your flock. This is what I'm thinking. That's not what I said, though. What I did say was your emotions are all over the place. Why didn't you call and ask me what was going on with her case before you started accusing? And so as he began to defend his position, and I can hear his wife in the background just, that's not what she said. That's not what she said. Pastors now, these are leaders. And y'all wonder why I have problems. This is a leader. His wife in the back run off his mouth, and he listening to her, the blind leading the blind, okay, as opposed to standing up and you clicking on his analytical mind, started rolling with the same emotion that his unhealed wife has, okay? So now, they're on the phone, well, if this wasn't the case, somebody needs to tell me, and this, that, and the third, and then I realized, wait a minute, this isn't even about me. Let me tell you what's really going on. And he says, okay. Tell me, clergy. That's what he said to me, because I let him know, well, you're not the only one that was a pastor. I understand these things too. Okay. So he said, well, tell me, clergy. I said, the issue is you are collecting tithes. You are collecting offerings. And you're failing to take care of your own sheep. And so now you need a finger to point at somebody. If you're going to collect money from the people, then you have a responsibility to take care of your flock. And since you can't take care of your flock, now you have an issue with the government. Why are you leaning towards government and nonprofits to do the work that you yourself should be doing with that big house and big car? Yeah. Sophie can go there. Okay? Because right is right. And if you come at me, you better make sure that you are in right alignment with what you are saying. Because what he was accusing us, first of all, I wasn't even there that long. So whatever went on in the back, I went through her file. I saw what happened. That girl had an issue holding houses. She kept getting kicked out of places. But he felt bad because he couldn't help her. He felt bad because he took the tithes and the offerings and went and bought himself something nice. He took bad because he wasn't in a position. He felt bad because he wasn't in a position to help his own flock. That's your responsibility. You raised your hand and said, I want to be a leader. Paul even told you not all should want to be teachers and leaders. It comes with great responsibility. Heavy is the heads that wear the crown. So, by the time I was done talking with him, he decided to collect some money and help this woman out, which was what he should have done in the first place. Okay? Y'all need to know, and this goes for me too, those who are in positions of leadership, to teach, to preach, to guide, to coach, to heal, judgment comes with you first. It comes to the house of God, the people of God first. Why? Because the others are looking up to you. So if you're blind, then your flock is blind. Do you understand? And who's going to be held responsible for that? You see? Also during this time, even though we're bringing in a bunch of abundance to ourselves, we're handling cases, okay? We're formulating which laws are going to be done away with, which laws we are going to keep, what is going to be beneficial to humanity during this time, what we're all, are striving for, what we're all trying to accomplish. Make sure that you include in these manifestations, in these prayers, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and discernment. You're going to need that. The veils are so thin now. You're walking down the street right next to a demon and wouldn't even know. Well, if you're clairsentient, you're going to know. If you're clairvoyant, you're going to know. If you are filled with ruach, you're going to know. But for the masses, they're not going to know. Okay? Again, you're going to know when you made it, because what you see is not what you're perceiving. Also, when you're getting hit with all of this information from YouTube, from media, from the television, from everything else, you know you made it when you're not paying attention to what's being said. Instead, you're listening to what's not being said. You're tuning into the silence. Okay? When you have the ability to tune in to the silence and see past the deception of what's not being said, that's when you know you made it. Okay? When you're able to identify energies when they jump from vessel to vessel. Now, I always sweat when I'm fire in my bones. And what they said in church, it's like fire in your bones, like Jeremiah, right? You get hot. You really do get hot and start sweating. Okay? Anybody will tell you this, especially if you're a high priestess or a high priest, or, if you're connected with the divine in any manner, when you start talking and you're channeling that inner knowing, that spirit comes forward, you get hot. All right? So that's what I'm dealing with right now. So, even understanding that energy can jump from vessel to vessel. Check this out. Have you ever met somebody, ran across somebody brand new, but had the exact same characteristics as somebody else you once knew? Now, I'm not talking about similarities. There's billions of people on this planet. We're going to have similarities. I'm talking about the exact character, as if that energy or the person that you're talking to is the same energy that you used to deal with, but in a different vessel. When you've made it, you're able to identify, it's you. You can. Okay? And you also know how to play the game. You learn how to play the game. You know how to deal with people on the level that they are on. Some people feel like they are confusing you or fooling you. And you go along with it because you're just curious to see how far they're going to go with it. You understand what I'm saying? The way you see the world and the way you perceive it is completely different. What you're listening to versus what you are not hearing is completely different. The way you see energy bounce or travel or jump, okay, you literally can see this happen. Ever see it sit around in a bar fight? Ever been in a bar fight? Well, two people get to fighting and then you see the energy bounce from person to person to person and the whole place is in an uproar? Just know the energy can jump like that, but so does positivity. That's why I say get out there with your smiles. Get out there with that work, okay? Your energy is amazing. And if you don't know this, then who's going to know it? Okay? When you invoke the spirit of change, you become the spirit of change. Everything that you manifest in the ether realm has to materialize on this realm. Okay? That's for those of you who have reached your sovereign divinity. Okay? The sovereign divinity crowd does not have to be bothered with the law because they have transcended them. They rose above them. They just operate as locals. Okay? All right? Remember, the law is for the unrighteous, not the righteous. Didn't they tell you that? All right. So when you have the spirit of God residing in you, you don't need those things. You already know what's good. You don't have to ask somebody if this is good or this is evil. You're going to know. And you are going to be equipped with the power to make the change on this earth. The problem is most of you don't believe it. If you had any idea how powerful you really are, humanity, half the things that are going on in this realm, you would not have allowed it. Really. But because it wasn't in your backyard, it wasn't in your house, it wasn't knocking on your door, you didn't pay it too much attention until it did come in your backyard. Now you're in an uproar. How are we going to change this? We need to change this. We need to fix it. We were supposed to have done this eons ago. Eons ago. But since it takes a while for all of us to start waking up, and we're waking up in different times, the power wasn't as strong as it was maybe a century, decade, whatever. All right? But it's strong now. And since it is strong now, this is your time to use it. Get prepared for the 1111 portal. It's going to be energy swapping again. Okay? And some of the L's are coming on this room very, very strongly. Very strongly. It's to the point where you stop seeing people. Here's another thing I wanted to share with you. Are y'all also starting to see above average height humans? There is a gas station down the street that was kind of like a truck stop. Every time I go in there, there is somebody close to 7 foot tall in there. It is the amazing thing. Okay, and one of them was a woman. I only saw 4 so far. Okay, I only saw 4. 2 was in there at the same time, and I was looking up like, wow. Okay, and then one of them was a woman, white woman, long dark hair. She was wearing all black and she was tatted all over the place. She was about 7 foot tall too. I'm exaggerating, but she was around 6'2". Okay, and so we're starting to see. I'm like, okay, what is this? The Nephilim? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But the thing of the matter is, pay attention to your world. Okay, I'm watching it change. I'm watching it change, and you have to believe that it is changing, and you have to be the one that's creating it. Okay, you're not plugged up to the matrix. Okay, you already discarded those codes. All right. As a man think, so is he. So, if you have partnered up with matrix thinking and matrix understanding and a matrix reality, you are in the matrix. All right? But for those of us who are in the organic world, there is no codes. The veil is thin, and we're just dealing with energy. We're dealing with energy. Okay? You are supposed to be creating during this time. Tap into that inner child. Tap into that inner knowing. Tap into that divinity. And live your wildest dreams. You've suffered enough, right? Meek, you've suffered enough. It's time to claim your inheritance. Time to claim your reward. Time to be authentically you. I got your back. I pray for it all the time. Not for me, but for all of us. I do. That's my charge. So, just let you know. I'm praying for you. I'm on your side. I'm rooting for you. And I am helping you manifest your dreams as well. I am Sophie, and I love you all. Bye.